How are you guys doing? I'm gonna continue with this. That's how it goes. Going right straight to it. Doesn't matter what's going on. I'm going to be completely alone for a while because it's a completely like early stream that nobody's going to tell me much. So I got no worries. So let's go. I'm liking this game. From the Gardens. Okay, so let me get this straight, boss. Rite of Resurrection really exists. To use it, you have to kill people using the power of curses from the 7 Mysteries of Hanja. The curse you have is from the story of the Evergreen Beach. That's told in this area. Yeah, pretty much. You're quick on the uptick. You weren't your usual silly self when you were explaining, so I knew you were telling the truth. I'm never silly. The only thing I have trouble believing is that you're taking this occult stuff seriously now. I mean, talk about paranormal. I thought you didn't believe in any of that. I don't believe in it. My familiarity with this is why I try not to get close. You sure? Are you just being a sore loser? Not used to admitting you were wrong? Oh, shut up and listen to me. No point in trying to hide things anymore. We won't get anywhere if you don't understand this, so listen up. Please, just listen. You don't have to keep saying it, I'm listening. I have time to waste. We'll talk as we walk. Hey, wait for me, boss! There's no man kissing in this game, sorry. I just want to double check one thing. You're telling the truth, right? This isn't a side effect of your senility. It's the truth, not like I can prove it though. Revealing the secret of a secret department is against the rule, even to a fellow cop. But this is an emergency, I need to tell him, okay. You already wrote this, but this is all top secret, not sharing it with anyone. Right, you can trust me not to. But no, I just can't believe it. There are rumors that you used to be a member of a secret division attached to the Security Bureau. I can't believe you actually have a department called the Paranormal Affairs. Yeah, I'm sure it comes as a shock. I couldn't believe it. I thought the higher ups were messing with me. Really had me worried for a while though. Oh, this is incredible. That's the whole reason I became a cop. I was all fascinated by the secret agency and stuff. You serious? Thinking about it, totally makes sense. If curses and spirits really do exist, then of course we need a special department to protect citizens from them. You seem a bit too eager to believe this. Hang on, I thought you joined up because of me. Come on, boss, do you only have one favorite food? You can only like more than one thing. Yeah, whatever. In case, the official stand is that the supernatural doesn't exist, so Paranormal Affair operates in secret. I'm not sure why they stuck with me there. Those 4 years I worked nothing but cases involving the supernatural. Okay, Special Security Unit's Paranormal Affair Bureau is more commonly referred to as Paranormal Affairs. Only a handful of people know its existence. Even within the police force, as the name suggests, it specializes in the investigation and resolution of cases involving the paranormal phenomena. The extent of paranormal phenomena is not public knowledge, nor is readily available by the general population. The Bureau activities are conducted in the utmost secrecy. Currently, there are only 5 members, including the chief. The Bureau has a network of psychic contact across the country, who assist them in cases including me of Korosaki. The Bureau takes investigation into any suspicious story that across the desk, though the vast majority turn out to be hoaxes. With the sheer volume of cases, close sleep experience of detectives without the paranormal ability of their own, such as the Tsuomi, are something that seem to investigate. The current chief of Paranormal Affairs is a man named Kuiru Nakagoshi, who was born to a family of psychics who has been involved in keeping the world's secret from the paranormal phenomena. Ooh. Hey, oh, I like, you got some rats over there. Happy Halloween! I mean, really, thank you for coming, and very happy Halloween, you little bucket boy. You little bucket man. Kid. There you go. I'm pointing at you. You silly bucket person. Chris is an elusive figure. Or some theorize that it's in fact because... Oh, what's that? Oh, you got that a very spooky... Rotten snap. Very spooky. It is in his office, usually called by Anue, a legendary creature found in Japanese folklore. Shishi. Yes, it's me, Fertile Frank. That's my Halloween costume, Necro. I mean fertile. Ooh, I spook you. Help my therapist. Well, we could adopt if I were. I don't think I am, though. We could adopt some. Oh no! They can stay. The balls do more than just produce. No! I can keep them. I think his office is. Keep them. I mean, if you cut my balls, I'm going to grow fat like a cat. Do you really want to have a Garfield husband? Do you really want to have a Garfield husband, Necro? They still work. It produces testosterone. It has function. No, you don't want a Garfield boyfriend. Oh, he knows Richter Kai. Well, do you know Habit? Have what? Spirit sense, of course. Are you what they call a spiritually gifted? No, I never felt anything at all. Even if I did, I'd be lightweight at best. One beer and I'm down for the count. How people in the field of quantify someone's spirit sense, like how much liquor they can handle? Nope, that was me. Thought it'd help to get the point across. Oh. It seems like I keep disappointing you. No, it's not your fault, boss. At the risk of disappointing you yet again, I'll tell you one more thing. Sense is actually something you're born with. It's thought to develop later on. So there's no hope for me? No. Say it isn't so. Perhaps you were interested. Well, you never know. You may have some hidden potential. You know, there's a high schooler who got so much spirit sense that she works on the front lines. I'd say work, but she wasn't paid because it was supposedly part of her training. Yikes, that seems like a violation of the Article 69 of the Labor Standards Act. Oh, you really know the law. No comment. Even the cold field has workers' rights issues, huh? Okay. What do we do now? We got this Rite of Resurrection and the Curse of Echoes of the 7 Mysteries of Khonshu. The curse being spread out around the city is a bit of an emergency. Is that bad? I put it this way. It's like handing out the guns all over town. Jeez, that's a real bad. It is. So we need to find out the source and put a stop to it before something terrible happens. Usually, it can be several of the paranormal affairs, but I talked to them on our way out here. The main team is tied up till tomorrow night. They told me to deal with it myself. It'll be fine since I have some experience. What? That overtime you mentioned means, yep, you're gonna help me, partner. Alright, let's do it. You seem a bit eager to dive into all this. You really have no reservation working at a case you know nothing about. You said that there was an emergency. I didn't think we had a choice. I'm just trying to be logical about this, boss. You really are something. It might actually be nice having you around. Why, thank you. He's not stupid, but he sure can be slow sometimes. I thought you'd think the possibility may come inside the way. Think. And there's no the secret department is against the rule. Okay, I already did that. So what exactly do we do? If prisoners are connected to the 7 mysteries, then people who have the others should be all around town. Right, if there's 7 of them, that means that there are 6 more out there. and we have to stop them all before they kill anyone in the curse. If we can, we should find out and collect all the curse stones. I do find this funny, because they seem to think that there are 7, but there are actually 9, although they're called the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Because there are 9 Mysteries of Honjo, but they're called the 7 Mysteries of Honjo, and some that they're called the 15 Mysteries of Honjo. Actually, nobody knows how many Mysteries of Honjo there are, actually. Yes, it's spooky. Then a curse bearer gets you closer to completing the rite of resurrection. Won't your life be in danger if they find out you're a curse bearer? Pretty much. You can't let that happen. Can you even be out here right now? Hiding would only be a waste of time. Be sure the one-sided reed is associated with Yogaku Bridge. I was hoping we'd quick enough to run into the one-sided reed curse bearer. No such luck, it seems. But if nothing else, maybe a word will spread that the cops are on the lookout and people will behave. That's putting a lot of trust in whoever these other people are. But it's possible that the other curse bearers with the same idea will come here. Talk to anyone you see who seems suspicious. That means someone who may have the power of a curse. Understood. In that case... Yeah, there's a guy standing over there. What do you know? There's someone there. Good luck. Hey, you there. Sorry to bother you, but I've got some question. I'm with the police. Oh. 1 second. Paranamigaki. That's your name, correct? Yes, I don't mind answering your question. You're a detective. Did something happen? Alright, lots of things have been happening around here. Like, people dying. Identify himself as Yutaro Amigaki, a 21-year-old college student. He was watching... I played with a Ouija board once, but it was just like I was a little kid and the teenagers were fucking with me. I do remember, like, they put like the paper, they put me like a little like a shot glass, and they started moving it around. After everyone kind of finished doing it, everyone like, oh yeah, no, I'm moving it, yes. So yeah, I know about it. I never had like an actual experience with the Ouija boards. No, Necro, because that would be a succubus, and you don't want that succubus there, Necro. So what is it you were doing here? It must be the incident of the former Yasuda Gardens, the dead policeman. I can't imagine that they will come all the way out here otherwise. Huh? Say, Mr. Detective, have you ever heard of the Evergreen Beach? Answer my question. How about you answer my question first? What were you doing here? What's answering your question? You're here to look for the Evergreen Beach from the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Actually, I was wondering if either of you knew anything about it. No? Nope, sorry. Really? How strange. You have the core stone of the Evergreen Beach, don't you? How did you know? Rio, you idiot. Well, that was much easier than I expected. Oh crap, sorry. Simple inference. I fear you would have taken the course if you were just in the gardens. You know that, then. You must be a course bearer yourself. I have no intention of hiding anything. I plan to tell you from the start. Look. This is my curse stone. I believe it's called the Foot Washing Mansion. That's right, but are you sure about this? I'm not sure. I'm not so rushed that I killed someone as soon as I found out they were a curse bearer. Not without talking to them first. You're the same, aren't you, detective? You wouldn't use a curse on a normal person. Let's pick a sequel, shall we? Oh, he's lying to me. Boss? Sure, we'd rather resolve this amicably too. You're a curse bearer, so please be careful. Fortunately, I don't think he knows which one of us is the curse bearer yet. If we play things right, we should be okay. See you later, T. Huggins. T. Buggins. Well, Dread have a nice one, and T-Baggins have a nice one. The thing that just happened, I could use the curse and have killed him. I don't want to kill him, because I'm a detective. But before we talk, there's something I should tell you. By Kirsten, the Evergreen Beach. Just like you thought. What? Why would you tell him? As for how the curse works, are you having another senior moment? If you tell him that, it hands to death anyone who would try to mislead me. If you try to lie to me, the curse stone will let me know. You don't have to use it to tell. Understand? Oh really, that's super useful. I see, understood. That's pretty useful power for a detective. Now then, let's talk. It seems like I lost the upper hand. No point for a particular then. I'll be honest with you. I can kill him. Like this one over here means I could kill him. So far so good. He really is a curse bearer. He may only be talking with us to try and activate his curse. I have to be worried of anything he asks me to do. I could talk at him and pin him on the ground, but that might have something to do with the curse. Any slip of the tongue could get us killed. I have to try and discern what activates his curse. So what do I do? Someone I want to bring back. So I'd like your assistance in collecting soul drugs. I can't help you. Please, all you have to do is tell me who the other curse bearers are. Sorry, but as a police officer, I can't just look at the others way and let you go. Please, if you help me, I'll let you two go as well. Is that a threat? He's threatening me and they're telling me, yeah, do what I tell you or I will kill you, but he will kill us anyways. Of course, the food wasn't mentioned. Did you really think you could escape it just being careful? It didn't matter to me which of you was the curse bearer. I'd be taking both of you soul drugs anyway. Wait, Namigaki. The food washing machine is a powerful tool, so simple to activate. Whenever I need it, there's no escape from the voice of my feet. Out of here, hurry, I'll find you later. What? Okay. Too late, hear the voice of my curse echo. The voice of the curse echo? Why is my curse echo working? Well, this has never happened. What's happening? I don't hear anything. Hurry on, now grab him. Right. Well, here, his curse stone. Good work, give it to me. Wait, why? What do you think, boss? Should we lock him up? I don't even touch you. You can't consider that assault of a police officer. Let him go. All we need is the stone. How could this happen? My right of resurrection. Give it up. The right was too good to be true. From the start. I don't know what happened to you, but you'll be better off mourning whoever you lost the right way. Oh, by the way, I fucked up with his power by changing the voices over here. Like, I changed the audio over here and he couldn't use his power. That's why he like it happened like that. Now I'll put it back up. Now get out of here. Wait. Phew, that was a close one, boss. We'd probably be dead if he had activated his curse. Yeah, I'm not sure what, but something stopped his curse from... Boss, are you okay? Does have another curse stone hurt? Yeah, the curse from this one is flowing to me too. Oh no. It's so that what activated the curse of the food washing machine and the restful memories bound to it. Ah, I see. I always thought this one was one of the stranger of the 7 mysteries. Now I know why. This sure is something. What did you see? Let's save that for later. All you need to know for now is that it's a particularly powerful curse. We're lucky we took it from him quickly. Okay, let's see. The food washing mansion, let's see. Kills by crushing one who hears the command wash. Accomplished Omnioshi, alas, she did not use her talents for the good of the world of the people, but for her own selfish pursuit of beauty. After a fierce battle, the woman dragged herself through the streets. It was like so... something had gnawed away at her body. Will I die? I already obtained what I needed as long as I have this. Suddenly a terrible realization dawned on her. Her legs wouldn't move. She fell to the ground. What was happening? Surprised, she looked down. Her foot, once so beautiful and delicate, had grown ulcerated and rotten. He got her. She was on the verge of death and covered in filth to boot. Crawling into a nearby house, her breath caught in her throat. The curious resident opened up but recoiled from what they saw. My foot is so filthy, someone please quickly. The woman spread while mumbling something unintelligible, and so ended the life of the one consumed by evil. It's easy, actually. Well, that makes one stone. Where do we go now? We'll visit all the places associated with the mystery while it's still dark. You mean we have to do that all over again? I hope you aren't all as aggressive as him, but people will do crazy things to bring back someone they love. The cursed stones are imbued with makes people more willing to kill. Really? Then what about you, boss? I'm fine. I may not have any spirit sense, but I'm thought when it comes to this stuff. Still love me in the paranormal affair. So you're a spiritual gift after all. Alright, let's head to the next place. Sumi and Ariel decide to collect the cursed stone as soon as possible before they become the cause of an unprecedented tragedy. The two obtain a food washing machine from Yutaro and Amigaki and head to the next destination. Midoricho Park. Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but we have some question for you. What? Are you with the police? I haven't done anything. Don't worry, it isn't an interrogation or anything, we just want to talk. You're Hideki Arashi, right? The historian. We know who you are, so this won't take long. But since we saw you here, we'd just like to ask you a couple of questions. He probably has a curse. Well, let's get this over with. I'm a busy man. Here, he says he's a local historian, but supposedly he knows more about the right of resurrection than anybody. The fact that he's here at this time of night is pretty positive that he's a curse bearer. What are you doing? No, Mr. Arashi, what were you doing here at the time of night? I'm doing research, of course. Day or night, information never sleeps. That's an admirable philosophy, you know? Your research has been quite the talk around town. What was it they were saying? You discovered something about some book? The Record of Fates. Found some kind of ritual in the Record of Fates. But don't tell me you want to know how to carry out the rite of resurrection too. To be perfectly honest, I hear people asking me about it all the time. None of you even care about the local history, you just come crawling out to the woodworks when something interesting comes up. Like I hit a nerve. You think you can force me to tell you because you're a policeman? You're sorely mistaken. Let's ask Hideki some question, okay. Well, the Record of Fate. This Record of Fate, where did you get your hands on it? The storehouse of an old private residence in the city, just the public was told. I'm unable to be more precise due to an agreement with my informant. Are you doing all this research so you can use the right research yourself? You're a policeman, do you think people can be brought back to life? Everyone I meet pitiful. So you don't believe in the right. Whether it's real or not has nothing to do with my research. Some things are better left to the occult priest, or so I thought. It's changed. It has become necessary for me to pursue the right. So now I pray that it is real. What changed? I'm sure you can imagine the funds of my research. There is a large amount of funding from seeking the right to resurrection. And if I find it, I receive a sum so great that I'll never have to worry about money again. Oh, so that means someone is sponsoring your research, is that right? So what if they are? I have no idea how hard we work to secure funding for our research. No interest in teaching those children. Listen to me, I'll tell you one thing. Is that where you see writing provocative books or spouting nonsense on TV to try to get popular? All of them are just trying to get the money they need to do their research. Look how popular the cult is, saying something even remotely spooky can lead to big money. But I bought your book. The person of the unknown begins first and foremost with belief. I was inspired by that bit. I do appreciate your patronage. Unfortunately, however, the cult is not my true interest. The fate of the unknown is to be destroyed by thought, research, and deep consideration. Oh, I can't believe it. You're surprisingly innocent. What kind of research you want to be doing? I'm sure it will interest you, but to put it simply, the focus of my research is how historical and culture transform into folklore over years as they are passed down from generation to generation. What does that mean? Due to human bias, the content of any event inevitably changed by the person communicating it. It's not necessarily done with ill intention. It happens when someone tries to fill in the gaps in a story that lacks details. Hi Necro, or when something left out or abridged because the story is length. Or when a story twists and shifts as it's spread through oral tradition. The two stories are told about the same event. Difference in cultural environment affects how it's sold, changing its content. It was fine, it was time. Little things can turn into terrible mysterious legends. My research is the study of how history, culture, and legend are influencing each other. I see. Just a mystery of Honjo, for example. Where are some of the mysteries are seemingly about nothing particularly interesting. You think stories wouldn't last a decade, let alone 100 years, so why? Perhaps putting it that way piques your interest. I admit I'm curious. So, that's what you've been researching all this time, makes sense. It doesn't matter to me whether the right exists or not. If people in the Edo period believe that that was what written in the record of it was real, that's all I'm interested in. You have to be realistic. The research I like to do is unfortunately not very lucrative. That's why I need to take some risks. What research you were doing just now also related to the Red Resurrection? Well, yes, that's right. What exactly were you looking for? I have no reason to tell you, you wouldn't understand anyway. Well, in that case, I think I might have a guess of what is you're looking for. First bearer. Fine, if you know about that then, calm down, no need to get so defensive. Person. We both want information, right? Why don't we have a nice friendly chat? Person, you're a curse bearer. I leave. It's the evergreen fish for them. Yep, will you show me yours? Burning blood. Oh! I killed him in the other like thing. Interesting. I'll tell you this for free. The evergreen bridge comes from a man who has hundred spreading false rumor, but the accusation against him were unfounded, and he died cursing those who deceived him. So that's the resentful memories held within the memories of the Seven Mysteries are truly fascinating. If only I could collect them all. Do whatever you want, but you should know something. This stone of mine lets me curse anyone who tries to mislead me. What? But so don't try to lie to me. I will know. So you would curse a citizen? And you call yourself an officer of the law? That all depends on you. I don't want to use it if you don't have to. What is it you want? The curse stones are dangerous, like to confiscate yours. But you're right. First, let me ask you one thing. You haven't used your curse, have you? Of course I haven't, I swear. I see, good. Now why don't you hand over the stone? Unless you rather try using it on me instead. I won't give it to you. If I were to, you say that, what would happen? Would it be a crime? The police are aware of how dangerous the stone are. They could arrest you under Article 1, Section 2 on the Minor Offences Act. You hand it over and all you lose is your secret ability. Think of what would happen to all your listeners if you were arrested. You can have the stone here. Okay, let's see. Gilbert is embodiment, one who finds themselves trapped in the darkness of the Curse Echo. Disembowel weapon. Okay. When Honshu was filled with samurai residents, the spies of the shogunate lived among the townspeople to keep the eye on things. The Soba cart on the south where Yasu served as one of their outposts. They would communicate to each other in code by turning the lantern on or off. Tonight at 4 a.m. meant that someone would be having the last soba of their life, and their belly would be sliced open the next night. An unfortunate incident occurred in which a man attacked a woman in a bout of fury. He regretted it deeply, even declining to invoke the right to defend his honor, but the deed was done. Ooh. He could not accept it. His rage at having been used by the daimyo boiled over, turning into a grudge he would never forget. Nearby he saw a lantern, quietly glowing in the night. When the sixth bell rang, the man cut his own stomach open. Since then the lantern could be seen alight before the soba cart had opened, and would flicker out suddenly, even when there was no wind blowing. As this unsettling phenomenon continued, the rumors surrounding it grew, and soon all were convinced that it was the man who could open his stomach visiting from the beyond. Ooh. Good choice. I look forward to see how your research pans out. Alright, would you tell us everything you know about what's been going on? If you help us out, we'll give you all the information we have gotten after we solve the case. What do you say? Yes, I will tell you... Good belly, yes. I will tell you about all the residual memories of the 7 mysteries. I believe they are the key to the secret key in the record of things. Sure, why not? I'll learn about them as I collect the cursed stones. Thanks to you, we learned a lot from him. I wonder if the mysterious rites are all public information. Everything he knows about the other curse bearers and the source of the curse here hidden. I was hoping he'd at least give us a clue about how to beat the curses. Oh, I see then. We should be more aggressive next time. Really make them spit it out. And by we, I mean you. I guess if he wants to save the curse, he wouldn't have told us anything no matter what he asked. Now we know where he hangs out. We can always send someone for him if he needs. Got it. I was surprised to hear that there were actually 9 of the 7 mysteries though. Yeah, that's 2 extra curse bearers we have to find out. We have confiscated 2 stones, so there are 6 more. They should be anywhere in this town. But find them fast, or they may start using their curses. No, I think we're already too late. Huh? I didn't tell you this, but there were some soul dregs in Namigaki's curse stone. Then, he already killed someone with it? It's not much, so it probably wasn't a curse bearer. Shit. Well, we know who did it. We can make an arrangement and take him into custody. We have the paranormal affair pick him up tomorrow. For now, we continue our research. Right on. The next place we just have to cross them off the list one by one. Oh, but boss, Good to know we can use the Mineral Offenses Act to arrest people with curse stones. But why didn't we do that with Namigaki? If we could do that, there'd be no need for the paranormal affairs. What grounds would a normal detective have to put him under arrest? Oh, right, yeah. I suppose that's true. Yeah, he just was bullshitting. I love this guy. Okay, we just got the final one. Something different happens if you kill him. If you kill him. Okay, blah, 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 blah. If everyone can breach your after, you better be looking. Okay. Let's see if it's a game over if I use it. Well, I will have another chance, no worries. Not so good. Oh, I can't use the curse. Okay, fine. Can I continue? Hmm. Who is the Chris? What's her deal? Oh, wait. Oh. Oh. Where did she come from? I like to appear out of nowhere. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm terribly sorry, I got into the wrong people, but would you happen to be a curse bearer? Bearers, what's that then? I mean, someone who's gathering souls for the rite of resurrection. You have heard of the rite of resurrection, haven't you? Everybody's talking about it. Follow me intrigued. Care to tell me more, miss? What's your name again? Also to me, I am a Tono. Yes. There's more to the rite of resurrection than meets the eye, you see. The best way to collect soul dragons is to kill other curse bearers, and that's about the size of it. I hope it wasn't too much to follow. No, I think I got the gist. Funny all will live in it. You're certain you're one of those curse bearers? No, well, not quite. It's complicated. I'm not, but Yutaro is. Yutaro, is that your boyfriend? Oh, heavens no, just a friend. His full name is Yutaro Namigaki. Where's that suppose you could say partners in crime? Funny way to put it. So where is this Yutaro now? Well, about that, he's not actually a curse bearer anymore. It's more like a former curse bearer. Former how so? I don't really know the details myself, but apparently he lost his curse stone. Typical, right? He makes such a show of being a top student only to flank where it counts. Now I'm out here looking for curse bearers myself, if you want something done right. About your Yutaro Amigaki? He lost it? How did he do that? It wasn't him at the time, so I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is that he came back saying he didn't have it anymore. Although, well... Great that you probe into that of all things. I'm just curious, sir. That's all, sorry. It's a touchy subject. I'm probably a little irrational sometimes, so I have to keep a level head on my shoulders. So anyways, mind if I ask you why you thought I was a curse bearer? Oh, that I'm terribly sorry, I was so rude. I saw the two of you out late at night and I suppose I made an assumption. Gotcha, sorry, if we gave you the wrong idea. Out of interest, what were you planning if we turned out to be curse bearers? Good question, and the answer is... Yes. I was going to ask you a very nice thing for your curse stones. So we'd have given them to you, just like that? Well, maybe not. But you know what they say, you never know until you ask. You must really love your boyfriend if you're willing to try something like that risky. Oh goodness no, we're just friends. But luck doesn't revolve around him, you know. You aren't curse bearer, so I'm just bothering you, aren't I? Please ignore me. So what are you trying to do with this rite of resurrection? Well, Yutaro has his own plans all laid out. I don't know if I can get behind it though. It seems, how do I put it, self-centered. If you have the chance to resurrect the dead, it will be a waste not to use it on someone that really matters, right? I was planning to steal his curse stone and the last second use it for myself. Well, until he lost it anyway. Don't tell Yutaro I was going to do that, okay? I don't think he'd be happy to hear it. Of course, keeping it secret is my bit. Aren't you dashing? That must be it. She must be half of the young couple Richter mentioned. But she isn't the curse bearer herself, and the friend lost his curse stone. Neither of them will be used to me. But like you really have your heart set on the right, what way are you hoping to use it on? Do you promise you won't laugh? Cross my heart. Well, let me tell you my master plan. Prepare to be amazed. I'm an art student, you see. Woodblock prints are my specialty. Ukiyo-e in particular. Ukiyo-e, you must be a cultural lady. Really, do you think so? Everybody says it's a strange interest for a girl to have. You know, people often think ukiyo-e as some inaccessible high-class art form, but that's actually totally untrue. Back in the Edo period, it was the art of the masses, amusement of the common people. When you think about it, we feel exactly the same thrills from every bush stroke as they did back then. It's indeed that fascinating. Yeah, I guess. So far as I'm concerned, the undisputed king of QA is one. Okay, have you heard of him? I have, he's famous. Didn't he live somewhere around here back in the Edo period? That's right, you're just as knowledgeable as you look. 36 views of Mount Fuji are so iconic they are only works of his most people know. Hokusai was so much more than just the mountains and a wave. That's only teeny tiny tip of vertical iceberg at work. I'll admit, I only really know him from those landscapes myself. Oh, don't worry about it. Anyone can learn. When Hokusai died at the age of 90, he left behind over 30,000 drawings. That's simple drawing a day for 80 years. Amazing. So he kept drawing right up into his old age, huh? Impressive. Oh. Oh. Anyways, his dying work were, should heaven afford me but 5 more years, I shall become a true artist. His death, but he still thought he had more to learn. He was already the greatest painter and artist, Sarah. Who knows what he could have done with more time? Well, that's what I was fun to find out. Are you saying... Besides, we said he wanted to move out of the 100 houses, but he only made it to 93. Isn't that just tragic? Oh no. No way it is going where I think it's going. Imagine the masterpiece you could create a modern techniques. I feel all this just thinking about this. You're about to be kidding me. So if I understand correctly, you want they will write the resurrection too? That's right, I want to bring Hokusai back to life. But that's certainly a novel idea. What do you use it on? What a waste. Is that the time? I should be going. I need to get my hands on a corpse bearer before daybreak. Sorry for flying you down out to the loo. That's best of luck. Well, she's fucking crazy. Wanted to revive that guy from 1,000 years ago. Not even like 100 years ago, like the Emperor was 200 years ago, and Japanese probably changed too much, like speech-wise. Years, probably. I don't think she would be able to understand each other, even. Well, there goes trouble. If we're going to, after Kirsten, we should keep an eye on her, too, if we can. Why do you say? Before she left, she wished us best of luck. She got at least an inkling that we are curse bearers. That's a good chance we will clash sooner or later. We're after the same thing after all. You head back to the mansion, ma'am. I think I will tell her for a while. Okay. What is this? Back here again. I left Richard to continue looking for curse bearers. I came home alone. Here's the wind rustling. Oh. It really be enough to gather soul breath I need. But if not there's any more courses, I lost my chance to bring it back up. The Shima mansion we rebuilt here at the Great Country. I would stay there time all this year. Even the war didn't touch it. Never like growing up. I always want to live somewhere else. Okay. Let's hope that there's nobody inside. We finished one, so we have to finish the other one now. Yako Sakasaki searched the right of her soul, hoping to revive her friend, who took her dead. To get information she needs, she must meet with her classmate, Mio Kurasutsu. Classmate Mina, attempting the spirit board. Man, it's cold here. Be everything. Okay, let's start. For this, Yako? Okay. Alright, let's start. You put the finger like this, not like that. Relax your finger as much as you can. So for the chart, repeat what I say, okay? Oh, Spectre of the Spirit World, please visit us. Your turn. Scepter of the Spirit Box. Oh. Which one is it? The middle one. The one on top said the Scepter of the Spirit Board, and the one on the bottom said Spirit of the Spectre Board. So it has to be the Spectre of the Spirit Board. You're a little off, huh? Don't like I say it again. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, please visit us. Your turn. Spirit Board, okay, please visit us. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, please visit us. Oh! I said board here. Spectre of the Spirit Board. Please visit us. Good. Please tell us if you are there. Ugh. Looks like we succeeded in the summoning. We can ask question now. Right. Start with questions you know the answer to and see the response. And when you know your questions are being answered truthfully, you ask what you really want to know. Okay, I'll start with something simple. What's my name? No. You told me no? I bet it means it doesn't know. It may be that the Spectre of the Spirit doesn't know everything. It is truly really the real deal. Yes. Okay, fine. I feel like it's giving me an attitude. What is this place? High school, okay, that works. Don't seem to be very precise. Really you? Is it no? Is it lying? Not quite. Spirit of the Spirit is just a temporary name we call them when we use in the board. We're actually calling the spirit with a strong tie to this place, or one of the people participating. In other words, a spirit that just happened to be nearby just felt like answering. I don't really think of themselves as the specter of the spirit box. Oh really? I feel like someone of the mystique has to disappear. Do you mind if I still call you the specter of the spirit box? Okay, thanks. Always good to remember to say please and thank you. What's the girl's name? And what's the name of the girl across me? I know your name, Mio. You even use the weird characters you use to spell your name. How flattering. I bet even the teachers get it wrong all the time. Because the paranormal beings just tends to take a liking to you. Okay. Okay, I didn't even hesitate this time. Right, it's time to try asking serious questions, yeah. Are you going to ask that kind of questions? Doesn't everyone ask this kind of questions in the spirit world? Besides, I'm curious. No, let's not do this. No. No, I guess that means you don't have a crush anymore. Whew. Yeah, that's it. No, it's correct. Yeah, that's it. No, it's correct. Or maybe the spectrum. Do you mean the boy isn't in our class? Oh. Stop that. Don't make me exercise you. If that's the case, then Spirit boss. Is it a teacher at our school? Oh no, no good luck. Jacob, cut it out already. We made the first clinic at night. We shouldn't waste the time with this question. You got a point. Regular spirit box. Spirit board, I mean. Did Michio Hirashi in our class ever committed suicide by jumping 1 week ago? Did she really commit suicide? No? The most important part, yeah. Okay. Okay. Hospital, didn't you just die? Okay. She didn't. What do you mean? But you didn't die falling from the apartment building? Yes. Yeah, Necro? Yeah? What did... Carrie, the way she lying on the floor like that in the back alley at the apartment building was an accident, but not a fall? Especially, what happened to Michio that day? What's the right of resurrection? The right of resurrection. Okay, I wonder. Oh! What is this? I'm scared me up. No. Deep sorrow, resentful memories flowing through my mind. Those possessions, those who hear it, shall fall into the deep depths of hell. Kill them. Those who hear this sound, kill them all. Before the power of the cursed stone, the full procession. You don't need to kill those who hear the sound produced by the cursed cycle for more than 30 seconds. The effect will be negated if you are seen that time. That's what it does. Let's see the real curse. Okay, the curse is that some people curse a noise like outside. Used to adopt the tall metal tower. It was her time to shine, and she was ecstatic. It had been years since she joined the crew, but she had yet to enjoy her day in the spotlight. She wasn't particularly pretty, nor was she all talented. As glossy and loudmouth, she wasn't well liked by her peers. Some of the other girls thought her as a teacher pet, and I bullied her. I don't care about them, she thought. I'll use this chance to make make something of myself. Oh, thank you, Brownie. ¿Cómo andás? ¿Cómo andás, Brownie? ¿Cómo andás, Brownie? ¿Todo bien? Espero que estés pasando bastante bien. Everything was perfect. You wore a beautiful kimono, and okame mask were her first. This was said. The accompaniment began, and she danced with everything she had. Applause rained down upon her from the crowd. Her brilliant gaze and the accent. I've got to catch my breath. That's strange. I can't take off my mask. The smell of gold assaulted her nostrils. That's how it is. I knew it was too good to be true. Her screams were drowned by the music as she screamed and struggled. Oh mio, her all today. We have to keep up the crowd living more. No, please, someone help! She ran from the tower, written in pain as she begged those around her for help. The music stopped in the time with O'Neill's heart. He died of suffocation. A further symbol seeps into a slow thick black tar. Now, heal. Can you hear it, Kurzbearer? You who so strong desires the right, heal them. Flashback. In one moment. I'm sleepy, but I will go forward. Because it's only a 2-hour stream. Oof. Better. A bit cold, but better. Man, it's cold outside. Ooh. I'm not scared. I'm freezing to death. Okay. 1 week ago. Did you hear someone from our school committed suicide? What, really? Who? It was Michio from Class C, right? Hey, Michio! You've been caught acting pretty weird, strangely lately. Wait, I caught my cutscene wrong? Yeah, it worked. Perfect. Cat ears. Didn't even notice. Did you hear about Michio in Class C? Yeah, she seemed like the stereotypical honor student in the first year, but stopped showing up to class and her grades started dropping after her third semester. So she off herself because her grades were bad. No fair. Thinking about the practice test makes me wanna die too. All anyone cares is the test on grades. You know, I heard Michio's mom remarried last year. They hate her news but it's a total jerk. Really, how? How so? Like, he picked on her while she changed. Don't give it up. But there's an ex-con. If she resists him, he gets violent. Screw, no way I couldn't take that. I couldn't take that. I'd probably think of about killing myself too if I had to deal with someone like that. There's suicide on the news, but for it happening here, it's a little scary. By the way, isn't there a girl who transferred into Class C recently? We heard about her. She's gloomy and doesn't stand out too much. Did you know that the school she was at before she transferred also had this? Oh, for real? It seems like kinda fishy. There might be someone who you know, but okay, calm down. I know it comes as a surprise, but please keep quiet. Most of this is still under investigation. There's nothing to know for certain for the moment. The investigative reports will come from the police, so please don't go spreading any rumors. Got it? Sending everyone home for today. No dilly-dallying on your way. School will be off tomorrow as well. Stop celebrating. Show some respect. There will be a memorial service scheduled next week at the school assembly if anyone wishes to pay respect to individually. Yako? I'm sorry to bug you. Your ears are blue. Yes. I'm not being noisy. Thank you, Kurosusu. I'm fine, thanks. You're Kurosusu, right? Transfer student. Yes, but you should call me Mio. I do? Right. Too much happening to think I'm having problems with thinking straight. Yeah, this is perfect timing. Then I want to ask you. Yeah? About the specter of the spirit world. When you were a super spirit, you did whatever you want, right? Yeah, I know it. I want to try it out. There's something I want to know. Why are you telling me this? I mean, you seem like the type to know about this stuff. I do? You look like you're into the cult. You know, you got that kind of gloomy look. I don't know how I should feel about that. Yes, I think it's probably a little more than that, than most. You're my only hope. Okay, please help me. You're my only hope. Okay. About the Red Resurrection. Hey, Mia. You know about the Red Resurrection, right? Yeah. That thing Mr. Araishi apparently discovered and wrote an article about. I know there's many people who don't know he's talking about. Do you believe it's real? Huh? Well, it sounds a little too good to be true to me. But on the off chance it's chance that it really works, you will bring Michio back to life with it. I want to find it if there's even the slightest chance to bring Michio back to life. How will you look for it? It's the thing. He or she, I wonder why she had to die. I believe another enemy, but they announced that it was a suicide. She was happy and always looked at the bright side of things. She loved coming to school. I know she was going through some hard time, but for her to kill herself, I never got a chance to speak with her. She was often absent from school, and when she did come in, she looked depressed. You're right. Everyone was so willing to accept that she committed suicide. It's like they cared, but all they did was gossip about it. They put together little pieces of information and spread rumors like it's true. That's terrible. Yes, it is. Some of them are really awful. In the end, the only reason they were able to say stuff like this is because they aren't personally involved. She didn't get along with her new stepdad and her grades went down. But the thing, like, so sad, no wonder she killed herself, how dare they? She always told me she was okay whenever I talked with her because I was worried. You would have told me if there was something bothering her so badly she killed herself over it. Huh. Only mention that to the original like maybe she got caught into something bad. Something bad? People have been talking about that body found on former Yasuda Garden, right? Someone said that this town is cursed or something. Yes, there has been a strange feeling around this recently. The thing you want to ask is it? Yeah, I want to know about the creepy Michio's dead and where the red rose is hidden. I see. I don't know if getting the answer for those questions will be easy as hope. Please, the teacher and police aren't any help. There's only so much I can do alone. Maybe like a slightly chance then. Well, okay, if that would make you feel better, then I'll help. Yes, thank you. Okay, then tomorrow after that. That's how they are right now. Nemi, are you there still? Melly Nemi? Are you awake, Yako? Yeah, what happened? You can't remember? Let's see, we used the spirit board and I heard something like a voice. In a pass out. Yes, after as I can tell you aren't experiencing any negative effect. I think it was just a mild shock from the how sudden it was, huh? Was everything okay with the spirit? Hey Sky, how are you doing? I'm continuing with this game. It was almost bad, but I got to leave. More important, what is that thing you have in your hand? In my hand? Oh, what the heck is this? It looks so freaky. What did I get this? Oh, there's so much anger and hatred held with it. It's like a little tool that were used for ancient curses. Nice. Echo, you just say you heard the strange voice, right? Okay then, have a nice full sky. I think it might be connected to that object. Let's see. I felt like I was at the bottom of the dark place, then this voice felt like it was echoing in my mind. Let's just kept it kill them. I see, thank you. Oh? Can you make out exactly what you need in order to use the red rose? The course with the power to take people's lives and turn them into soul wrecks. What? You mean this is a real course? You know, I say I wanted to use the rate of resurrection and bring back Michi, but why? Why me? It makes no sense. Echo, please, calm down and listen. Yeah. I'm sorry about panicking. It's not okay. I've heard it's something we feel in the face of the unknown. Not all people will give names to phenomena they couldn't understand in order to live with them. We're more in development in science and color has pushed from the rejection of things that can be measured. The paranormal has been treated like it doesn't exist. But they have been around since a long time ago. Just keep. If you just understand, you can see that there's nothing to be afraid of. Coming down is the most important aspect. More important. Accept reality for what it is. I really gave this stuff a shot because it was popular, but I really do have a connection with this stuff, don't you? Well, I suppose to an extent. Amy, what do I do? Where do I start? Am I cursed? I'm going to die? Yeah, I'll take care of the curse. Why am I here in the first place? What? Trust me. I'll take care of things. I'll be alright. Thanks. I was the one who dragged you along with the spirit board. Fine, you're desperate to find a way to try to help your friend, but spirit boards are dangerous. You have to take them seriously. So I'm glad you invited me. Alright, let's review everything we have learned so far. I think I would move forward. Okay. Well, this is course. Well, it's only looked into it a little, but I wouldn't quite say you're cursed. It's more like you're gained the ability to use the power of a curse. But there shouldn't be any kind of negative paranormal effects on you. The power of use a curse? Do you mean this curse stone? Curse stone is used under the certain condition. A curse will be placed on someone, taking their life and turning it into a soul wrecks. Others may to require them not their act of. Normally, a curse is a spell that will only be usable by Arminochi of considerable talent. The curse stone makes it so that even normal people can use them. Thus, my belly. So someone like me with no knowledge could curse someone, yes, but it's still nothing to take lightly. You could end up having it redirected right at you. To tell you the truth, something unusual did happen while we were using the spirit board. It happened right around the midnight, I think. This whole area seems to be under the effect of the Feast of Shadows. Feast of Shadows? Yes, it's a type of spell that temporarily boosts the potency of supernatural. I'm having fun. Also, the fact making the powers of certain curse echoes manifest more easily. Judging by the strength, it's probably covered about 3 to 4 kilometer radius. 3 or 4 kilometer radius? That's big enough to Resumida City. I think the Feast of Shadows was used to cause the present and lingering in the area manifest as a curse stone. Someone did this, but who? I don't know. Not enough, sadly. It is likely that it was done by someone who wants to uncover the Red of Resurrection. It isn't something that could happen naturally, I see. Oh, yes. If it was real, it means I could bring back Michio if I use it, right? The Red of Resurrection could be real, then. Yeah, that's true. But you can't do it, Yako. But it feels like there's no time to worry about that kind of stuff. Michio died in an accident, and I'm sure she didn't want to die. What's the issue of putting a little curse on a complete stranger? I feel like it wouldn't be a big deal. What's going on with you? You're not acting like yourself, Yako. You would never even consider taking the life of another person. The curse influence on you? Maybe the curse echo of scourging is crying off on you. Will you show me it for a moment, for a second? There's something inside. No, stop! Jaco, I'm sorry, but it's like I suddenly really didn't want you to touch it. I'm sorry, but you need to give up on the right of resurrection. Because that's the real curse. Using the resurrection as a lure, it tempts curse bearers into using their curses. You can't resist it. You let yourself be deceived by some curse. Michio could... Oh, for tonight we should get your home to rest. I woke you. The curse influence should be subsided in the morning. Okay. Stolen power can only be used in this area under the influence of the Feast of the Moon. The effect also only appears after the sun has set. By setting a limit on when it can be used, the curses are strengthened. So the circles are... no, Probably use the curse to kill someone. It seems there's a condition that needs to be done. Conditions? Means the... like, how many curse cycles needs someone to listen to the sound that it makes for 30 seconds? To be honest, I don't really understand it. Like, how do I even summon the curse cycle or something like that? You shouldn't be using the curses willy-nilly. Even if there's a condition that has to be met, the power to kill someone without leaving behind evidence is dangerous enough. Since maybe you really have been accursed. I'm sorry that you got wrapped in this situation even though... for America. What the curse? Huh. That's weird. That was strange. That I think was strange. Let me see something. Necro, look at this. This is for you. So yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this game. Although I'm thinking I'm sorry, super sleepy. Okay, let's continue. About the curse. Curse stone, I think whoever called this becomes the curse bearer. It would probably be for the best for me to hold on to it, but then I feel bad about forcing it on you. No, I need a powerful force rejecting me. I don't think it'd be able to take it. Really, why? If we tried separating it from you, the curse may trigger. How bad I sense it wants to stay with you. No way. The curse stone might look like nothing more than an old Netsuke carving, but I can sense a powerful resentful energy from it. I don't think it's a good idea for me to even touch it. may seem like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know how to handle something like this powerful. This little thing, if you threw it away and someone with bad intention picked it up... Necro, how are you? It would be certain to avoid risk and getting anyone involved and have you called it on for it now. Well, now I'm kinda freaked out. Anyways, we need to make it to daybreak. I think the course should weaken once it's morning. I'll help you find a way to deal with it then. There's two things you should remember. First, do not fulfill the condition while it's night. Second, should you happen to fulfill the condition, don't use the curse. Right. Mysterious Boy said the curse stone is called the Fool's Procession, right? Yeah, that's from the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. Who is said to be connected with the story of the same name, one of the mysteries. Right, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's just a bit, but was it that you were chosen because you could feel yourself for the right to speak? It's a curse of the 7 mysteries of Honjo. It's possible that there are others who receive the curse associated with the mystery. Eat you cook you. No, not only that. Apparently you can get a lot of soul drugs by killing a curse bearer. Right, that's certainly not good. Even if we have no intention of killing others with the curse, there's a chance you might be target. Hold the right of resurrection. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you that you need to give up on the right. It's beyond us. Even a single curse stone alone is too much to handle. I know how much it hurts, but please focus on just worrying about surviving tonight. But now we're in great danger. Okay, right. I'll be right. There's no one else at the school, is there? I think so. The night shift janitors shouldn't be patrolling this late at night either. Ah. So are you okay? Hello, Mio? You're not here. What's happening? Where are you? No, what's that? Mio, where are you? Yako, I'm here. Or can you see me? Where? I can't see anything. Mio, this way, over here. Be careful, your field of vision is being limited. Right. Fuck, that woke me up. Okay, fuck. Finally some fucking action. Okay, Mia, what was that just now? Will it be an hour course echo different from mine? I think so, yes. We may have been discovered by another curse bearer. Oh. What's wrong? Not there is in that classroom. What? The curse bearer who used the curse echo just now. If we can't see who it is, it might help us decide what to do later. Okay, be careful. Well, try to get a look. Oh. Huh? Our homeroom teacher, Mr. John Uchi, and the person with him is Hitomi from Class A. Why? What's going on here? Earth. That him. Kill him. Hey. Mr. Junichi. This sound. No, Yako, stop. You took Hitomi too. I come to do something. Hey, over there, who's there? Sin, it didn't work. Right now, hurry. Okay, I could have killed him. Seems like they're not coming after us. Let's hope they didn't see our faces. But came over you all of a sudden. Sorry, thank you for stopping me. Like this uncontrollable rage suddenly welled up inside of me. I wonder what's gotten into me. I can barely remember what happened. I'm really sorry. I do think it's partly the course influence on you, but we certainly saw something shocking. My heart's still pounding. I'm a little surprised you know he told me from Class A. She doesn't stand out a lot. Gotcha. Well, she certainly does dress like a delinquent. I thought she barely showed up to school. Oh shit. Don't know. But we should be careful just in case. Yako. Huh? Give you the signal, run. Go straight to the entrance. Don't look back, no matter what. Huh? Why? Did something happen? Nothing happened. What about you, Mio? I'll be fine. I'll meet you outside the school gates. We're not there in 10 minutes. Go straight home, okay? Okay, go. Look back. Don't look back. To get outside. Let's see. Let's go. Okay. What are you doing? Eat. The janitor. You shouldn't be here this late. Don't you know what time is it? Mr. Ashimeya. Well, yeah, it's a little Yako. Anyway, student ain't supposed to be outside playing around at night. On this. Yeah, he's smoking. I know you're rough around the edge, but I didn't think you for one to act like this. Out. What about you? Should you be smoking on school grounds? Well, I ain't late, so it's alright. It's, you know, an accessory. Hey, don't go changing this out. There's just no letting my guard down with you. So why are you here so late? Well, truth is, I forgot something in my classroom. Then you sure the piece of work. Don't have nothing with you. Oh, wait, you do? What's the thing on your hand? Huh? Well, this is what I forgot. I got it from my grandpa. It's really important to me. Here these days, you sure have weird tastes. Well, okay, better head straight home if you're done. I won't tell anyone. No, wait, I can't let you walk home alone with this late. Alright, wait for just a little. I'll hurry and lock things up. But... I'm worried about Mio. The friend of mine is still inside. I think they will be here soon. That's so? Who's your friend? My classmate, Mio Korososu. The transfer student. Breaking school rule already, huh? Didn't take them care for the type. No, I was the one who dragged her here. Well, whatever, I'll go take a look. I'll be safer if you go home together. Oh, alright. She's in the first floor hallways. Be careful though. You don't know what's maybe be there. What's that supposed to mean? First floor, yeah. I'll be right back. He's smoking hot. Haha. Late. Been waiting for 20 or 30 minutes, but there's no sign of her. Start to get worried. I'm going to take a look. Mio, are you here? Oh shit! Where did I go wrong with this? Shit. Oh. I left her alone with the curse bearer. Yo. I'm sorry, I... This... And I died. My. Frank, you seem to have arrived at a less than favorable result, but this was bound to happen. There is someone who must not be trusted. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? If so, you may choose to withhold important information from that person. Or not, you may try as many times as you like. Okay, let's see. Wait, you do? What's that in your hand? Huh? This is what I forgot. I got it from my grandpa. It's important. Because these days. Well, better head straight home. Oh, wait, I can't let you walk home. Wait just a little. I'll hurry and lock the things up. But... Right, Mr. Chonichi was actually looking for you inside the main building. Was that he's here right now? What's he thinking? I don't know. He was in class 3B on the second floor just a bit ago. Well, I suppose that means I can't be locking up yet. Second floor, you said. I go take a peek. I'll be back in a jiff. My house is really close by. I'll be fine on my own, really. That's so, the snack shop, right? Suppose you will be fine then. Be careful now. On the big, well-lit street. If something happens, shout fire. Okay, you worry too much. Well, wouldn't want to be losing any more students. I imagine you know better than anyone. Yes, you're right. Yeah? You're late. I waited for 20 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes, but there's no sign of her. Huh? There's someone coming down the road. What's... No, a teacher. It's Mr. Araishi. I wonder what he's doing. One who discovered the right of resurrection, it wouldn't be strange for him to be involved with the courses. I wonder if he has a course stone. What do I do? It's way past the 10 minutes Mio said she'd be here by. I managed to escape. I can't let that go waste. I need to get out of here before he sees me. Teachers. Yuck. No, yeah. I don't think we walk has ever felt so long. Maybe we'll be able to use the course once the light's outside. I need to go to look for Mio as soon as it's morning. But for now, I need some rest. Oh. Oh, you get like double thing depending if you die or not die, huh? Two endings. Call, let's see. I can do one more, I think. After pursuing Ariashi, the crossbearer of the ever-burning lantern, to give up the stone, Tatsuma and Ario obtained 3 course stones in total. They continued their investigation of the town in search for the remaining course bearers. Well, with this, we'll have to visit every place connected to the Sun Mystery. This is the last spot. We have got nothing to show for it. Even though every last location looks suspect to the top to bottom, maybe we come the wrong time. There might be not been any... okay, crossbearer around. So like we need to do another round before morning comes then. Or maybe someone's been observing our movements. What? No way. I thought. Either way, we should check out this plus place. Kimboshi Park. Oh. Whoa, what the hell is this? Is he dead? Damn it, we were too late. Was this a curse too? I'm going to call this in. I'll leave it to you, I'm gonna take a look around. Boss, bad news, what is it? Another mystery that was reported in the area just now. The medical unit has forensic team are on their way, but I will be a while before they arrive. That's bad. So they got someone else. You think it's the work of a curse bearer? The suspicious death popping one after the other, we have to assume it is. I guess we'll stop waiting for around for a while. Oh, boss, the phone is ringing. What is this? There's something stuck on the side of the phone. Come on, but there's no supposed to search for that. Wondering. I guess I could check it. But better to check it out. You're right, but be careful, it could be a curse. Yeah, I said, you expect me to go alone? You're the one who thought against this stuff. Don't worry, boss. You can do it. Go on now. Damn it. Hello, Kimboshi Park phone booth. Even in Detective Tatsumi. What's things looking out there? Who's this? Finally got him. The real deal, Detective Tatsumi himself. Oh wait, that's great Chief Inspector Tatsumi now, isn't it? You came a long way since we last met. Ask you to identify yourself. Have you forgotten already after all the time we spent together? What a time that was. As I recall, I gave you quite the run around. Wait, is this... Fumichika Najima? You say Fumichika Najima? The one from the Najima murders? Then you got it. I had a feeling that the great chef Tatsumi would remember me. Spent 20 long years in a cell thanks to you. That shit was not easy. You will be thanking me. You have given plenty of time to think what I've done with your sin. They did. I have repented. My conscience is clean as a whistle. Was it 20 years in prison doesn't even begin to make up for the shit you did. I don't know about that, but after all, the justice system has a great enough grant for me parole. What? Michiko Nishima? He must still have a grudge against me for arresting him. But it's time to pay back, damn it. What is your goal? What's your goal? Now, you gotta understand. I'm repentant. In the light, I have been a good boy since I got Grand Parole. I even got myself a job. I've been really serious about walking the right path. Well, that's just very nice, keep it up. But it was no good. When the opportunity arose, it was impossible to hold myself back. I knew I had to give a little token of thanks, or I'd never truly be able to have the fresh air from the first start. Do you get what I'm saying? No, thanks. I don't need anything. No need to all that to me. I try to live a quiet life. Oh, it sucks. No hassle at all. It will be all too easy to just kill you, tear you apart. But what wouldn't be very satisfactory? I didn't know after 20 fucking years of waiting. That's how long it did. Okay. You fucking bet it is. I let it know on me. Grow inside of me. I thought it was nothing else. All the time I played model prisoner. Endured the harassment of those asshole guards and they threw me. And I did it all for you, Tatsumi. So please, just accept my deepest and most sincere feelings. But I'm afraid I don't feel the same way about you. What is your goal? Holy, I'm not coming for you yet. Pay attention from when people talk shithead. Smackhead. You see, this time... I want to see you on your knees, on despair, begging for forgiveness. Oh no, I'm sorry, Visionia. Please forgive me, I won't do it again. Shut the fuck up, there's exactly why I've always hated you so fucking much. It was worth a shot. Do you really think that would stake me, asshole? You must be crazy. Well then, we're both crazy. We've got so much in common, we should be friends. And you're cracking your joke like you can. I'm going to kill everyone you care about, disappoint you, but I'm Lone Wolf. I don't have anyone else like that in my life. Boss, what about me? Oh wait, are you just trying to protect me? There's not a single person you care about? I wonder what your sweet daughter would think if she were to hear that. Don't you fucking dare, I'm warning you. Oh, very nice. This is more like it. Living on her own right now. Isn't she? Attending university and all. Such a good girl. Oh my, don't tell me that she just happened to live in Ponjo. Oh, she does? Don't forget it. This isn't funny, asshole. I'm going to find you and make you pay. I love it. Keep going. I want to hear you lose your mind. It's a music to my ears. Fuck you. For chipping up your precious daughter, I was just being like the old time. I won't let that happen. Okay. Okay. Part sounds okay. I can't get enough. I'm not telling you shit. Have fun wrapping your little tiny brain for it. I could give you a little hint. Go on. You see, have the one-sided read. Assuming you have the Evergreen Beach. Hajima, you're a curse bearer. You're using your power of the curse. Indeed, what a peculiar curse is this? But there's where my hints end. I mean, the curse echo couldn't have fallen into worse hands. One more thing we should discuss. In fact, it's the most important one. You said you're finally going to shut up. I'm already sick of you. I'll pass. But you don't want to miss this. It's the main course. I could just go after your daughter, but something tells me you would get bored. No, I'm good. You got me real fired up. You're in my head. Well done. But this gives still our milk for you. I'm going to kill all the people you swore to protect. Every last person living here. Couldn't. Oh, but with this curse of mine, I can. I give you until dusk. By then, I could probably get a couple hundred people killed or so. It all... Oh shit. It must be hard to know they will die because of you. So tragic. It must be tearing you apart. Don't fucking with me. There's no way I'm an amateur like you could pull enough off a course that was strong. But for you, I have to come. My course stone is a particularly strong one. Which means I can have my fun without needing to hold back one bit. It's almost like the best of the shadow was cast just for me. I was really well informed about this. Who was the one to put you up? Who knows? Then how about I kill myself first and ring? Call this just because you were dead? There's no running from it. Well, I find you. You get away, Nijiba. You got 12 hours. Do you really think that potentially you're going to show you the loops? Oh, the sacrifice will be heavy. I can't wait to see you summoned with regrets. I don't have enough soul dregs to pull off the red of restoration. How splendid. Well, yeah, you're the after the. Anyways, see you come on here. Whoop. Boss, did you catch that all that? Najima, what's his plan? For now, we need to find him and get him into custody. Send the word to HQ. But the fact that the 7 miseries are wrapped up in this is going to make things tricky. You mean with Najima, I mean the course bearer? Just for luck, really. I couldn't have been worse. It's not like this course will be able to kill a lot of people at once. I'd like to avoid getting our investigation caught in the crossfire. I'll use them to find out where he is, but then we're going to get along. You should try the okay. Aye, boss. You have to collect them later. was reported that a total of 3 suspicious deaths were destroyed that night. The Sigma crimes along with the courses were kept secret from the general public. However, conscious serial killings still remain international headlines, following the death of police Hajime Yoshimi. Assuming a request, a large-scale investigation was launched from Fumichika Nijima whereabouts. Nijima and Ario themselves spent the rest of the night looking for course bearer, but everything ended in vain. And with that, the curtain closed on the course night. 12 hours to sunset. I think it's a good moment to stop in this like stream because I'm having a bit of a problem right now. I'm probably going to try to stream in the night because I'm going to have a bit of a nap. Super fucking sleepy. Yeah, I'm sleepy and I have to go to I gotta go to karate. I can't read while sleepy. And I have to go anyways. I'm sleepy because I don't sleep when I have to sleep, and I maintain myself awake even though it's not my prerogative. And anyways, it was just you, and I love you a lot, Necro. But yeah, I love you. Anyway, see you later, Nemi. I will be leaving now. Let me see how things are going in Twitch, so I can like probably rate. No, I can't rate shit. Can't rate shit. Okay, see you guys later.